Okay, tonight we are going to talk about adjectives. This is chapter 4. Let's begin with our opening prayer. I'll mute everybody and then we will begin. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum. Benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Oh, there's Alex. There you go. So last time, or up till this time, I really should say, we had the first two declensions. The first declension were -a ending nouns, feminine nouns, mostly. And then the second declension were masculine nouns, and they had the US, ER, and IR ending. And then we finally added the neuter second declension, which is the UM. So, I've kind of highlighted some of the similarities before, like the dative are all IS and the ablative, plural dative, plural ablative are all IS. The genitive and the nominative plural are all the same except for the UM endings. And so, and then you have the aurum, 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 aurum. So again, you can see the similarity there. So try and use those similarities to help memorize, and do memorize these endings because they are important in determining the meaning of a sentence. But now we got adjectives. We've had nouns, and what's a noun without a good adjective? So the good news is this class of adjectives follow the nouns that we've already had exactly. So it's the same endings for the -a, -us, -um ending words. So you don't have to memorize any new endings, which is great, right? Well, downside is now we got a lot of new words to memorize, because now we're going to go with all the adjectives. So now I do want to point out one thing is, as I said, we have first and second declension nouns. We have first and second declension adjectives. There are also third declension nouns and third declension adjectives. They follow a pattern that's a bit different than what you've seen so far, but we're not going to see those for a while. You kind of get hints of them in the Ave Maria. We say, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, pray for us sinners. Well, peccator, peccatoribus is a third declension noun. But anyway, we're not going to see those for a while, so we're just going to stick with first and second declension nouns. They have the same adjectives, just like the nouns, and normally they're listed in masculine and feminine and neuter order. So if you look it up in the dictionary, you will generally see US, A, and UM. That's just a convention. So I guess they didn't believe in ladies first for that order. So what are these endings? Okay, whoops. I think I slid that over a bit. There we go. So the same, as I said, they are exactly the same. Now, there are first declension -a endings for adjectives, US endings. There are ER endings, and then there are UM endings for the adjectives, okay? There are no, now we had second declension IR ending nouns. I don't know of any IR ending adjectives in this of the second declension form. If they're out there, I just don't ever recall running into it. So as far as I know, there aren't. So one less thing to remember. But as I said, they are exactly the same as what the nouns are. So that's good news. Here's an example. Bonus, bona, bonum. Now, I want to say one thing before we go through the list. You may remember the Gloria. Et in terra pax omnibus bone voluntatis. We usually sing bone, all right, with a long O, and that's because it's easier to sing, okay? It is actually a short O, so it should be bonus, not bonus, like what we all hope we get in our paycheck. But no, bonus. However, if you're going to say bonus, bona, bonum, you'll be understood, you know, I mean, but it is a short O vowel. But as I said, we generally sing it bonnet because a short O is kind of hard to sing at least for us English speakers anyway. But okay, so it follows the exact same pattern. We have bonus, masculine, bona, feminine, bonum, neuter. And actually, I tend to make that a long O every now and then myself. So I'm not entirely consistent. But boni, bonnet, boni, okay, neuter, feminine, masculine. Bono, bonnet, bono, bonum, 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 bono, bona, bono. So, and then you can see the plurals, okay? We have the bonorum, the bonarum, the bonorum. And note that the accent is all on the O for all of these, except when we go to the genitive plural. And that's because we put the accent, to review, you go to the last syllable, you go to the syllable in front of it, and if the vowel is long, you put the accent there. And otherwise, you go to the syllable before that and you put the accent there. Well, bonus only has 2 syllables, okay? So you got to put the accent there. But when we go to the end, all of the other endings are simply vowels or a combination of a vowel and a consonant. So they don't change. But the genitive part does, because that is a long O. So bonorum, bonarum, bonorum. Again, I'm kind of hitting it extra hard just to emphasize the difference. But the dative is easy. Bonus, 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 as is the ablative plural, bonus, bonus, bonus. Accusative, bonos, bonas, and bona. So are there any questions there? Hopefully this should all look very familiar, and hopefully you've been studying and you can say, yeah, I got it, right? I really should have a recording of crickets chirping in the background.
Chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp. Yeah, I know this is not easy, but you do have
Say
to
chirp in Latin.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Alex. What?
How do you say chirp in Latin?
Oh, wow. Now, okay, that's actually an interesting question. Animal sounds, and in this case, insects, are very different when you go from language to language. You know, in English, cows go moo. I'd have to look up what it is in other languages. I do not know the sound crickets make in Latin. I'll have to, I'm not even sure where to look that one up. All right, if I think about it, I'll look it up. But if you've ever studied another foreign language and they had animals with noises in there, they were completely different than what you would normally associate with them in English. So if you're going to translate Old MacDonald had a farm, you need to be aware of that. So anything else? All right. So there are ER and RA and RUM ending adjectives. I mean, we had the usual USA and UM, but like the second declension ER ending nouns like ager and agri, we do have ER, RA, and RUM ending adjectives. They follow pretty much the same ER pattern that we've seen in the past. So sacer, or sacred, holy, sacra, scriptura, sacred scripture. So sacer is like an ER ending. The feminine is sacra, the neuter is sacrum. And so sacri, sacre, sacri, etc. Was there a question?
Yeah, I just had a comment. You may have said this before, but those there were three words that come to mind that were in our vocabulary for the second declension masculine, other than puer, and it's minister, ager, and liber. And one thing I noticed about the difference between those and puer is if the letter preceding the er is a consonant, then you eliminate the e and you elide the consonant with the r, and that becomes the root. And
right.
It appears that's the same rule with regard to sacer.
Right.
Because there's a consonant before the er, you remove the e, you elide the consonant and the r, and that becomes your root.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
So that's why a puer has a vowel.
It has a vowel, so
before the er, so that doesn't change. But,
you'd end up with puri or
right,
something like that.
But likewise, it sounds silly if you ministeri or ageri.
Ager is usually the one that's that I like to use as an example because it sounds weird if you don't drop it out. And I'm sure it's not linguists. Philologists, thank you. Why can't I remember that word? I don't know. Philologists the human mouth is only capable of certain sounds. And so they have a lot of theories on how things shift as you put those sounds together. That's one of the reasons why even if you could find a chimpanzee that could, you could teach them English, they could never produce it because they don't have the right vocal and nasal passages and all that other paraphernalia that we use in speaking. They were able to teach some, I think they were chimpanzees, sign language. So it's not that they aren't capable of some of that sort of stuff, but they just do not have the apparatus to produce those sounds. And
Michael, I had one other comment to make. The beautiful poem that's been set to music by Thomas Aquinas, O Sacrum Convivium.
Yes.
I was thinking about that, and it occurred to me, looking at sacrum and convivium, I wondered whether convivium, which is a second declension neuter noun, whether that when you read O Sacrum Convivium, whether that convivium is in the vocative. And that's why you have sacrum convivium as opposed to it's actually the nominative and the vocative, but I was just curious whether that is an address that would be like pater noster. So it would be in the of course, the nominative and the vocative are the same, but
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, you can find two different thoughts on that. You can say the vocative doesn't exist, or you can say the vocative is the same word. And you will see statements in various Latin books that both statements. So you can consider it in the vocative or you can consider it in the nominative. Doesn't matter. So
Because the ending's the same.
yeah, I mean, in some sense, it really is the vocative, because "O sacrum convivium," I mean, you are addressing the sacred
Yeah.
banquet there. If it was, if you were addressing the Lord, it would be clearly "O Domine." So, and the same is true of the Pater Noster as well. Obviously, you are addressing God the Father there, and so it is the vocative. It just happens to be the same as the nominative. So, but there's some people that say, oh, since it's the same, then it doesn't exist. It's really the nominative.
Well, it's just that word, when you have the word "oh" that precedes the rest of it, it does seem
Yeah.
like it's an address.
Yeah, it's definitely a vocative or the use of the vocative anyway. Let's put it that way. So yeah, very much so. So any questions here? It's going to be a short night if nobody asks anything. I'll have to pad the end or something with regale you with good stories or something. So anyway, now adjectives. We saw earlier that nouns needed agreement in gender and number, or number and gender. So yeah, if you're looking at the chat there, they put in, we're worried about the quiz. For those that were early, okay, this Sunday is Septuagesima Sunday. If you are a devotee of the extraordinary form. If you don't know about it, Quadragesima is Lent, or 40 days. Well, in the pre-Vatican II liturgy, and this was also true of the Greeks, so I'm a bit surprised they got rid of this. There was a warm-up period, if you wish, before Lent. So the Septuagesima is the 70s, or has to do with 70, and it's the 70 days before Easter. You will note a distinct change in the liturgy. Fasting was considered, or fasting is optional. Okay, well, even under the pre-Vatican II rules, I'm unaware of any fasting rules for that period, and I don't even recall any all the way back through the Middle Ages. But a lot of people did sort of do personal abstinence and fasting in order to kind of prepare for Lent, because Lent originally, Quadragesima as it is called in Latin, no animal products, period. So, no fish, no eggs, no milk. I mean, it was a very strict fast. That gradually got eased back on down through the centuries for various reasons.
So pretty much modern day vegans.
Yeah. Actually, that's not true. I think fish was allowed, now that I think about it. But yeah, eggs were not allowed. So yeah, kind of a very almost vegan type. And that's why pretzels came about. You wanted a snack. Well, pretzels are flour, salt, water, and there's no egg in them. I'm not sure all of what's in there. Maybe there's some baking powder or something in there. But,
Yeast, probably.
I'm not sure. Well, I don't know.
The big ones.
Yeah. Anyway, but back to. So anyway, I'm sorry. We were listening to the epistle was being chanted. We'd done the introit, the Gloria. They were on the epistle, and I warned people that there would be a quiz on the epistle at the end of the class. So anyway, but back to the slide at hand. We saw that nouns needed agreement in number and gender. So servo sum, I am a servant. That would be what a male would say. Serva sum, if I am a servant, female. Discipula sum, I am a student, male. Discipula sum, I am a student, female. And similar, or adjectives are the same thing, or similar, in that the modifiers must agree in gender and number. So filius est discipulus bonus, the son is a good student. Okay. Filia erit discipula bona, the daughter will be a good student. Don't forget we had the future tense in unit 3. So filia, discipula, and bona, they all have to be feminine singular. Vir erat discipulus malus, the man was a bad student. Vir is masculine, means man. Discipulus, male student. Malus, bad. Feminae erant discipulae male, the women were bad students. Erant being the past, the imperfect. But feminae, discipulae, and male all have to be feminine, plural, and errant, there's no gender in verbs, but you do have to make the number right. So the women were bad students. Now, the reason this is important is because you can play with a word order. Maybe not so much here. I mean, you could say feminae discipulae male erant, which would still mean the women were bad students. I mean, there's not a whole lot. If you put male after feminae, then it would be the bad students were, the bad women were students. But you'll see that in some of the more complex constructions that you can play around with some of the word order. And if you don't note that what words go, or what adjectives, I should say, go with what nouns, you can end up with a real mess. I'm sure I've told the joke about my daughter who was taking Latin class, who was doing her homework, and she came to me to check it, and her sentence was, they were taking pictures of ruined Romans. And I said, no, I think that means they were looking at pictures of Roman ruins. So anyway, just be advised. Now, I do want to say one thing. Most of the time in a given sentence, the adjective endings will match the noun endings, but there are some exceptions. Okay. Cases where they are the same. Nova Ecclesia, the new church. Manus Gladius, the big sword. Discipulus or discipula, bonus, bona, or bona, good student. Now, it's not always the case. There are some traps. Petrus est papa bonus. I warned you about Pope. Pope is masculine. So in this case, bonus will take the masculine form. So there's a few cases it doesn't happen.
Michael?
Most of the time they will match. Yeah.
On the bottom, did you mean to say puer est fragilis at the bottom where you have?
Oh, no. I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Okay, because the first one, liber est fragilis, that's correct, but it's not correct to say liber est fragilis for the second. I think
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, hold on. So yes, you got to watch out for those few A ending words that are masculine. So, and then when we get to third declension nouns and adjectives, the pattern doesn't hold at all. Now, to answer your question, liber is a book. Liber is a child.
I see. That's the accent.
Yeah, I snuck it in there. Yeah. This was, call me a sneaky little devil.
Okay.
Well, don't call me a devil. Bad connotation there in this. Call me a sneaky little magister. Okay. Yeah. In both cases, you can see that the endings don't match, and that was my point. But yeah, a short I is a book, liber, but a liber is a child. How's that for a source of incredible confusion?
And I had one other thing I wanted to ask you about.
Sure.
When I looked up fragilis, I know it's the third declension adjective. When it's listed in the dictionary, it's fragilis, and then there's a comma, then the E. Is that because the masculine and feminine singular nominative are fragilis, and the neuter nominative singular is fragile?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I wanted to understand.
Yeah. After we get done with this unit, and I want to go through the exercises, and I'm thinking about doing this before we do unit 5, is I think I'm going to have, so it wouldn't be next week. Next week would be the exercise, would be the week after. I may take a text. I haven't decided what. Send me suggestions if you want. And then I will haul out my dictionary, and we will have sort of a dictionary night, meaning this is how to use, and I'll use Scriba because that's the one that is electronic. And we may do that and go through something simple, looking up each word in the dictionary and understanding what the dictionary is telling us. Okay. I haven't decided whether to do that between the 4th and 5th unit. The 5th unit introduces verbs, so I'm almost tempted to do the verb. Well, okay, unit 5 is the first conjugation, and then unit 6 is the 3rd and 4th. Sorry, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So, but I think I'll do it after. We'll take something interesting, and I will take consider requests. So if you want to go through the I don't know. Well, we went through the Sanctus the other night. So if there's something in particular, and actually I'm going to mention the Sanctus later. If there's something in particular you want to go through, let me know. But I think that's appropriate, is to show how the dictionary works, or how you use the dictionary.
One last question. Drawing the distinction that you just made between liber and liber, if you didn't have the short I and the long I.
Could you say that again?
Sorry, that was my watch. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I would just, if you were writing that sentence, how would anybody know what you were talking about other than the context if you didn't have that line above the I?
Well, what is black and white and red all over? The answer is the newspaper. Now, just as an aside, it took me years to understand that joke, because newspapers weren't red.
No, right.
And then I go, oh, red, as in read. Yeah, I mean, English has the same, what is it, homonyms, etc. Context, okay. I mean, you could, I mean, and in fact, if you want to, in fact, Latin Latin humor will often intentionally take something like liber, book, and liber, child, and mix them up in the same paragraph. Okay, so that Yeah, and they do this intentionally. It's kind of like think of English, a tongue twister. Well, this is sort of the same, or maybe puns. Maybe that's a better example. But yeah, you're right. If you come upon a monument on the Via Appia, and there's a stone there, and it says "Liber est fragilis," and that's it. You don't know whether he's talking about a book or a child. Probably a child, because we talk about fragile children. Don't usually talk about a fragile book unless you're talking about a book from, the 1500s or something.
Are
Yeah,
there other
right.
examples of that, Michael, where you have exactly the same word, but because of the emphasis on short I versus long I,
Right.
or some other vowel that's how you can distinguish the two?
There's another good one. The Veni Emmanuel. Venio, and I'm getting way ahead of folks here, so be patient. Venio with a short E is I come. Veni with a long E is I came. Now, fortunately, you can tell the ending difference, but there's another long and short vowel that changes it from come to came, which is kind of like what we do in English, in the sense that we modify the vowel in come. Of course, in our case, in the written language, it's a totally different vowel. So no, this isn't the only one.
Well, the reason why I ask is that would it be inappropriate if you were actually writing to put the long or the short mark above the vowel?
The macrons are a 20th century invention.
So the answer is it would be inappropriate.
Yeah, well, okay. Again, obviously I did it here, so it's not inappropriate, but I did it here to make a point.
If you're the magister.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did it here to make a point. So, but if you're just writing, no, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. So, but anyway, any more questions about fragile children who are reading fragile books? Okay. Now, so the endings are pretty easy, but we got a lot of new words. We got a lot of great new words, by the way. We have animus, animi. Now, if you remember, I'm pretty sure we had anima in the first unit, didn't we? We must have. Let me double check. Anima is, of course, soul. So let me, oh, maybe we didn't. Did we have anima yet? Let me check unit 2. No, unit 2 would have been declension. Well, he keeps adding to that. I should have done my homework. Oh, maybe we don't. Oh, all right. Well, anima generally means soul, and animus is the heart, the mind, or the spirit. And and again, read unit 4, look in the back, he'll show you cognate words. So this is where we get the word animate. Okay. Then there's gladius, sword, magister, modus, manner, mundus, world, aurum, cenaculum, sacramentum. But now we get a lot of nice adjectives: aeternus, eternal. Okay. Antiquus doesn't take a lot of imagination to figure out what some of these are. Basically old, ancient. If it's in the plural, antiqui, then it generally refers to the forefather or the ancients of old. Beatus, blessed or happy. Beo, from what that is, comes from, is the verb, means just that, blessed or happy. Don't think of beatus in terms of blessed as holy, okay? I've gotten into this discussion on occasion with people who were horrified that in some new translation, they switched blessed to happy. And I pointed out to them that that is exactly what the word means in Latin. So when we say, oh darn, I can't think of a saint who's blessed at the moment. Has Fulton Sheen been declared blessed? I know there
Mother Teresa.
Oh, blessed.
no, Mother Teresa's been canonized.
Oh, she has.
Yep, so she's
What
saint.
about Blessed Charles of Austria?
Oh yeah, there we go. Blessed Charles of Austria. Thank you. The blessed part means that they are sharing the beatific vision. Okay, it all comes from this. Oh yeah, Carlo Acutis. Oh yeah, wow. Another good one. The root there is beo, which is happy, joy, and it's not just any joy, it is an all-consuming joy. And so when we say the saints are sharing the beatific vision, that's what we mean, is they're in heaven and their joy is filled. I mean, their joy is complete, as it says in the New Testament. So beatus really does mean happy, whereas blessed
Would be pious.
pardon?
Pious. Are you saying that holy really is more appropriately pious?
Oh boy, pious, pious. Oh boy, that's a really actually sanctus is holy. Okay, let's stick with that one for the moment.
As an adjective?
Sanctus, yeah, sanctus, sancta, sanctum. So sanctus, Deus, holy God, Sancta Maria, Holy Mary, or Saint Mary. That's where we get the word saint, by the way. It's from sanctus. Let's see, for neuter. Can't think of anything neuter off my hand, but sanctus is an adjective. So I'll come back to pious in a minute. Let me finish with beatus. So we really do mean blessed in the sense of the beatific vision and joy. Okay.
Has Mother Angelica become a blessed yet?
Who?
Mother Angelica.
I don't know of a canonization effort that is in progress. It wouldn't surprise me if her order is working on it in the very preliminary stages, but I don't know of anything in particular. Does anybody know anything in particular about that? You probably have to wait until all the bishops that she was a thorn in their side has to pass away first. But anyway, but let's, I'm going to jump to pious for a moment. Okay, pious is where we get the word pious in English. And this is, the word pious was pretty much destroyed by the English Reformation. Pious became a pejorative word in English, okay? In Latin, what does it mean? It means attentive, and it's in relationship to God or to one's duty to God and the saints in the church. So pious, O clemens, O pia, O dulcis Virgo Maria, at the end of the Salve Regina in English is usually O clement, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary. So they've used the loving. It does mean holy, it does mean loving, and it means tender and devoted and dutiful all at the same time. So pious is an excellent word in English, but we've kind of destroyed it. So I don't know, you tend to think of piety in English as, well, if you're a Protestant, it's considered a insult. or maybe insult is too strong. It's not, piety is not something they value. So,
Michael?
yeah.
Well, if pious is an insult, does impious, is that a compliment?
In some circles, I think that's probably true. Yeah, and in fact, that's a good contrast. Is take pious, and then the antonym is impious, wicked, godless. So yeah, keep both of those definitions in mind whenever if you're going to translate something to English or trying to understand it. So, and that's why I said pious is generally holy, loving, tender. This is in relationship to the divinity and the saints and the church. It's not, well, you could say a pious husband, I guess, somebody who was devoted to their wife. So maybe that's too strong. But let's see some of the other words. Bonus, claris, clear, bright, also glorious or famous. Magnus, great, large, big. Propter magnam gloriam tuam, on account of thy great glory. We have bonus, which means good, and generally it's morally good. Malus is the opposite, bad, evil, wicked. We have a possessive, finally, meus, meum, mine. So meus liber, or meus liber, depending upon which one you're talking about. Mortuus, mortua, mortuum, dead. Multus, many. Noster, nostra, nostrum. We now have our and ours. Oh, thank you. Chapter 7. I knew it was in there someplace. Where was I? Noster, nostra, nostrum. Novus. New. Pius. Impius. Sacer, sacra, sacrum. Tuus. So now we have mine and yours, as in singular. And then ours, noster, which is plural. And then vivus, living, sabaoth. We had that last week when we did the sanctus. So we have one more. And now we can ask a question. Ubi, where? Ubi est ecclesia, where is the church? Of course, if they give you the directions in Latin, you probably won't be able to understand it just yet. So anyway, so do study Unit 4. As I said, the endings are easy. You need to pick up the extra vocabulary. So any questions there? Okay.
Oh, Michael?
Yep.
Just one last thing. Going back to the example that you were using about fragilis, could you clarify, you may have said this, so there are some adjectives that strictly are for first and second declensions, and others that are consigned to third declension or later declensions, like fragilis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you probably,
you just have to learn which ones are associated with which declensions.
yeah, we haven't had it yet. The third, we get, I want to say Unit 13, I think. If you remember at the end of last year, we kind of went through the third declension and third declension adjectives rather rapidly. Yes, there are three kinds of third declension adjectives. One of them has different forms in masculine, feminine, and neuter. Then another form, which is fragilis, has the same feminine and masculine forms, but a different neuter form. And then the last form has the same forms for masculine, feminine, or neuter. Father Felix, who's, let me double check this, who's got a perfectly good Latin name, whether he realizes it or not. But if I'm not mistaken, Felix is, oh, no, got to find the adjective. Where is it here? Felicis. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Felix is is the same form in all three genders. By the way, it means fruit-bearing, fruitful, fertile, productive. It can also mean lucky. If you remember Felix the cat, that's kind of why they named him that.
It doesn't mean happy.
Not real. I don't. Well, here. Let me see here.
Felice in Italian, I think, means happy, or felicitous.
Well, it can mean fortune. All right. Well, okay. It can mean lucky, but generally luck is also associated with happiness. So yeah, there is a happiness quality in there. So, and the Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, is Spanish picks that up from Felix. So yeah, there's a happy in there as well, but it's usually happy in the sense of lucky.
Lucky Christmas?
No. What I mean is, sorry, I switched languages. What I meant was, where the times that I've seen it, it does mean happy, but it's in the sense of fortunate. Yeah, ubi is where, urbi is city. So yeah, anyway, let's see, where were we? Oh yeah, any more on the fourth, the first and second declension adjectives. We will get to this. It's just out quite a ways. I think it's unit 13. He wants to introduce some verbs. We haven't had any verbs, so we want to get some of those on. Well, he prioritizes getting those under the belt versus the third. So, all right. So, where are we in the scheme of things? Well, we picked up the first and second declension adjectives. Now, I had most of these highlighted before because they were first or second declension, but now we have the actual adjectives in here. So, plena, full of, filled. Benedicta, blessed. Now you could, and benedictus, blessed, masculine. Benedicta, feminine. Okay. Sancta Maria. Now, sancta is actually an adjective. Okay. Mater Dei. Well, we had that. And nostre. Okay, that is a second declension adjective, and we had noster in our word list. So if you come back up here, where is it? Yeah, noster, nostra, nostrum. So you want the genitive form down here, hour of our death. So this needs to be genitive because it's the hour of death, and it is our death, and it has to agree with mortis, which it is modifying. So we actually pick up a few. It's going to be a while before we pick up Some of these other ones, mulieribus is women. That's mulier. That's in the third declension. We haven't gotten there yet. Ventris is in the third declension. Fructus is actually in the fourth declension. Mater is third, fourth. Mater is third. Peccatoribus is third. I don't know when we get nunc yet. So we got a few more in there, but you've got enough words and you know enough of what the English is, you should be able to tie the two together. So talked about the sanctus last time. Okay. First, these really are first and second declension adjectives, as is benedictus. Sabaoth, we picked that up in unit 4. As I said, that's Hebrew, and you will find that it's real easy to decline Sabaoth because there is no declension. It's a Hebrew word. They don't decline it at all. So it's the same no matter what. Let's see. Pliny is an adjective. Now you can kind of guess some of these other ones. Okay. Hosanna in excelsis. Okay. Now that is actually an adjective. We have the Gloria in excelsis Deo, glory to God, Deo, in the highest. So you should have a fairly good idea that that means highest. Nomine, we say in nomine patris, in the name of. So you should be able to figure out that. That's also excelsis. Qui venit, maybe that's a stretch, but you've seen Veni, Veni, Emmanuel. So anyway. So let's see. Any questions there before we hit the Ave Regina Caelorum? Yeah. All right. The Ave Regina Caelorum. Hail, Queen of Heaven. There are 4 Marian antiphons used in the Roman breviary of St. Pius V. The Alma Redemptoris Mater, which is in Advent and Christmas. Then the Ave Regina Caelorum is from the evening of February 2nd until Spy Wednesday. Can anybody tell me what Spy Wednesday is? Sounds very, mysterious.
Ash Wednesday.
Yes, it is. It is Ash Wednesday. I'm sorry. No, it isn't. Excuse me. It is not Ash Wednesday. Yes, it is the Wednesday before the Last Supper. And yeah, Lucy and Sophia there put it in. It refers to the fact that Judas was a spy among the 12 who was preparing to betray Christ that night of the Last Supper at the Garden of Gethsemane. So it is called Spy Wednesday. So we're going to hear the Ave Regina Caelorum now until Holy Week. Okay. So I thought what we would do is we'll go through it just to pick up some of the words. The Regina Caeli is an Eastertide, and then the Salve Regina, which I think most of you would be familiar with, is from Trinity Sunday until the end of the liturgical year, which is Advent, the first Sunday of Advent. Now, one thing I want to mention is that prior to Trent, there were variations on the above list in various religious orders. So even though these guys have been around for, I want to say maybe the 13th century and some earlier, there were variations as to which one was used in the various seasons, and it was generally the various religious orders. I don't want to get into too much detail, but prior to Trent, the religious orders and then the local bishops were generally in charge of the liturgy. and most of them took it seriously. The problem was as things started to go off the rails there in the 1400s and the 1500s, and that's why the Trent or the Council of Trent or the Counter Reformation came about and put a stop to some of the more bizarre things that were going on. But when you talk about pre-Trent, though, there was a lot of variations among the orders and the various regions. You had the Sarum, Sacramentary, which was in England. You had the Mozarabic rite. Well, that's a different story, but anyway. So, but maybe for a later time. But right now we're doing the Ave Regina Caelorum. So around the 12th century. So it's been, 1100s. We do not know the author. Herman Contractus or Herman the Cripple, depending upon how you translate it, has been proposed because he wrote a bunch of them. But there is no reason other than kind of guilty by association, if you wish, to associate with him. And a lot of our liturgy is of monastic origin. Generally, the great monasteries would come up with stuff, and that would tend to flow out through the rest of Europe. And as I said, it is one of the traditional concluding antiphons for Compline, and it's been in use since the 13th century. Not everybody, but it has been there. And as I said, in the reform of Pope Pius V, it was standardized in the Roman breviary. So that's why we are using it. Now, the next page I have, I'm going to give you the antiphon or the hymn, if you wish, along with a versicle and response, along with a concluding prayer. This is on my website, by the way. This is what is said at Compline, okay? Now, when we conclude it at the extraordinary form Mass at Annunciation, we just do the hymn part, okay? What is interesting about this is this versicle and response, this is one of the reasons why I included this, by the way, originally appeared in the writings of Saint Ephrem the Syrian of the 4th century. So that shows you how far back that goes. And Saint Jerome is Saint Jerome of the Vulgate, by the way. So Saint Ephrem the Syrian wrote a number of beautiful hymns to the Blessed Virgin Mary. And so if anybody says that hymns to Mary were a medieval invention or I don't know, 12th century or whatever, don't believe them, because Ephrem the Syrian was writing them back in the 4th century. So anyway, the other thing I should mention is this particular form of the Ave Regina Caelorum took shape in the late 17th century. And that's when the 1600s, because Pope Clement VIII tweaked it a bit in 1602. The original form of this was rather unmetrical.
1602, that would be the early 17th century.
Yep. Oh, did I say late? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. See, it says early right there, right there. Oh my goodness. I think I meant late 16th century, which isn't true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 1602. Wow. Anyway, so this is the one we sing, and I thought it would be useful to apply some of our newly learned vocabulary. We got most of the words, not all of them. The second part is going to be a little tough, but we got most of them. So let's do the first part, or rather, here's the whole thing. Ave Regina Caelorum, Ave Domini Angelorum, Salve Radix, Salve Porta, ex qua mundo, mundo lux est orta. All right. Well, we've had the Ave, okay? Ave Maria, all right? So if you can't guess that that's hail or hello, greetings, what's happening, or whatever your favorite greeting is.
Michael,
Yeah.
could you explain why we had this discussion about Cheli versus Chelis last week, but could you explain why it is that this plural of heavens is used, but then it's translated as just the singular heaven? And we see this all over the place.
Well, and sometimes it would be Regina Cheli. Where? Oh, there it is. I knew it was in there someplace.
Well, like the Pater Noster, for example. I mean,
yeah. Well, okay. I can tell you why it's Celorum here. Okay. And that's because it makes the meter and the rhyme come out right. Seriously.
Okay.
Celorum, angelorum, porta, orta, gloriosa, spaciosa, decora, exora.
I
Okay.
guess you call that poetic license.
Well, I don't know if it's poetic license so much as it is, that's what they came up with to make it fit. Okay. There's not a lot of difference between heaven Chelum and Cheli, okay, in this context. Generally speaking, and again, I almost hate to even make it that general. Yeah, you've heard the old saw, all generalizations are false. So I'm going to make a false generalization here. What I have seen is usually the plural means the heavens, which generally means how do I want to put that? Generally means the all of creation above the dome of the earth. I'm using a very old cosmology there. And whereas Chelum generally is specifically heaven when we speak, when we speak of the beatific vision and sense. However, don't draw that line too finely, okay? Because I've seen both. Pater noster qui es in celis, okay? In the heavens. So, Regina Celorum. But as I said, the other antiphon up here is the Regina Celi. And so when we get to Eastertide, we'll talk about that one. But I wouldn't make too much about it, or I wouldn't make too much of it in the ecclesiastical sense.
We're just losing a few heavens by the time we get to Easter.
Well, now you did actually, you did hear of Cloud 9, right? So I guess there's, when you get to the pearly gates, Peter say, oh yeah, you're on Cloud 3, Cloud 7. I don't know if there's anything more about it. I'll tell you what, I'll try and look up and see if I can find anything. I'm not aware of anything. The important thing is heaven. So anyway, Ave, Domina. Okay. Now I will admit Domina is probably a new word. It is the feminine form of Dominus. Okay. So just like you saw bonus, bonum, bonus, bona, bonum, there are masculine, and we saw discipulus and discipula. Well, there's Dominus and then there's Domina. So you should be able to kind of guess what that means. Angelorum, I'm sorry, that's a second declension word in our vocabulary. Salve, again, Salve Regina. Yeah, basically hello is Ave or Salve or even Vale, okay? Vale is often goodbye, but all three words are hello. So Ave Domina Angelorum should be pretty clear. Let me jump to the next chart where I go through all of these. So Ave, you should guess it from the Ave Maria. Regina, hey, we had it, Queen. Celorum, again, we've had that word, genitive plural. Ave, same thing. I said Domina, we haven't had it, but it is the feminine form of Dominus, which means Lord or Master, okay? We're not plugged in, this being in the US, and we're not having a royalty. To us, a lord is God, you know. Well, lord in England means somebody in authority, you know, Lord so-and-so, Lord. So the best translation of Dominus might be master, okay, or sir, in the sense of somebody who's exalted above us. Well, the feminine form is Domina, lady or mistress. And you will hear Jesus referred to as Dominus. You will often see Mary referred to as Domina, which means lady or mistress. It does not mean like female lord divinity. Okay, that's right out. So anyway, so maybe you could figure that out. Angelorum, I'm sorry, that's, you know, we've had that word in there, so you better recognize that. So what do we have? Hail, Queen of Heaven. Hail, Mistress of the Angels. Okay. Any difficulty there? Good. This one is going to be a little tougher. Okay, Salve Radix. Okay. And this is where hymns and poetry can be highly, oh, what's the word I want? Allusion, metaphor. I'm struggling a bit for the English words. Radix means root. So it literally means hail root. And you kind of go, root? Well, one of the titles of the Blessed Virgin Mary is Root of Jesse. Okay. That's from the line of David. Okay. Jesse was the father of David, right? So we know the Savior was going to be born of the line of David. So you will see Root of Jesse. I'm pretty sure it's in the Litany of the Blessed Virgin Mary or Litany of Loretto, if I'm not mistaken. So Salve Radix is referring to Mary as the root of Jesse and from the line of David, because that's where we know the Savior is going to be born from.
Hey, Michael,
Yeah.
just something popped in my head, not really related to the vocabulary, but since the matrimonial line determined whether you were Jewish or not, and Mary is of the line of Jesse, which put her into the scriptural requirements for, you know, giving birth to the Lord or whatever. How different would this have been if it was the patriarchal line that determined whether you were Jewish, so which meant that Joseph would have had to have been, I guess, born, you know, unstained, and it would be.
Okay.
It just kind of
actually, it's
in my head. It would have changed everything.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that. If you go to Matthew, you will read the genealogy of Jesus. And there's some wonderful names in there that are tongue twisters. I know of a priest who shall remain nameless. Yes, thank you. Yeah, Radix. Yes, for December. Yes, that's another place it's used for. Thank you. Anyway, I know of a priest who, when they hit that part in the gospel where they had to read the genealogy of David or of Jesus, he would feign illness and ask if the deacon could please, or some other priest could please read that gospel. And of course, this priest who was doing that knew what the gospel was. And so the other guy who was usually unprepared said, oh yeah, sure, Father, I'll do that. You rest your back or whatever. And then of course they'd open it up and there'd be the genealogy with some names that are just, well, that's probably one reason why I'm never going to be a deacon, so I don't ever have to read that. But anyway, if you go to Matthew, there's one set. You go to Luke, there's another. Matthew presents the genealogy according to the line of Joseph. Luke, on the other hand, presents the genealogy in terms of the line of Mary, or the biological line, whereas Matthew is according to the Jewish custom of tribes and stuff. So the answer is they are both descendants of David. They're descendants differently. So no, it was not Monsignor Galasinski that was the that was the priest that did this. This was a priest at Franciscan University of Steubenville. So anyway, so really it would have been, to answer your question, Teresa, really it would have been applicable to either Joseph or Mary. Today, we typically think more along the biological line, which is in Luke, whereas Matthew used, it's not biological, it was, can't think of the term. Well, look it up sometime. Anyway.
Inheritance?
Well, it had to do with the tribes and who was adopted by whom, and I'm afraid I just don't remember the right words for it. So yeah, God covered all his bases, definitely. So anyway, but then we have Salve Porta. So we have Salve Radix, Salve Porta. I didn't duplicate the Salve. Porta is gate, and Porta Caeli is gate of heaven. And the Blessed Virgin Mary, that's another one of her titles. Look in the Litany of Loretto for a lot of the titles, or the Litany of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So ex, well, we've had that one before. Out of, from. We had mundo. That's from this chapter unit. So I'm going to just translate this one. Qua mundo lux est orta. Lux est orta is the light has arisen. So the full phrase is from whom the light of the world has risen, or had risen, past tense, or the light for the world. There's a couple of different ways you can, translate that. This is ablative, so it would be the light for the world, but we generally don't say that. We say from the light of the world. So hail root.
You typed world as word.
Oh, did I?
No, the other one.
No, it's copy and paste. That's why I was highlighting the other one. Thank you. So from whom the light of the world has risen, of course, referring to Christ. Now this one's not too bad. The next part isn't too bad. Gaude, now that's a new word, but who could tell me what Gaudete Sunday is?
Third Sunday of Advent.
Yes. And what is the introit?
Starts with Gaudete.
Gaudete, yes, very clever. And what does it mean?
Rejoice.
Rejoice, yes. It's good to
Also
have
like
it's good to have some straight men online every now and then. Right.
He
So
also likes
Gaudete,
the
there's
Many
also-
Emmanuel. Gaude.
Yes, right. Yes, thank you. Yes, there is a hymn by that term, by that name too. And then there's several. So it means rejoice. So Gaude. So maybe, rejoice. Virgo. All right, that's a new word. But if you can't guess virgin out of that, then I don't know what to say. There is the constellation Virgo, which is the Virgin. Okay. And of course, virgin is is the English derivation. Sorry, let's try that again. English word virgin derived from the Latin word Virgo. Gloriosa. All right. I don't think, was that in the, I don't think that was in our, nope, that wasn't in our, let's see, where were we? That wasn't in our vocabulary. But gloriosa, all right, you should be able to kind of guess glorious out of that one. Okay. Super, above. Omnes, that is a new word. Omnes, it means all or everyone. Spaciosa, that is also a new word. You might be able to guess that, as in beautiful, lovely. I think, I'm trying to think what English root. Specious is not the right word, root, English root. No, I guess we don't have, I can't think of a good English word that derived from that. But anyway, you put that all together. Rejoice, glorious, virgin, lovely.
Maybe specious. Maybe like special. Could that be?
Yeah, actually, let me look that. Let me try that. Let me try them.
Michael, I have a quick question.
Sure.
We had a discussion a while back about the Stabat Mater. When you were, didn't you say there was a Stabat Mater? Did you say speciosa, or am I getting confused with another word?
Let's see.
There's the solemn one where she's weeping at the cross, but I thought there was one.
Yeah, that's Stabat Mater Dolorosa.
Oh, Dolorosa. But I thought there was another one besides that you mentioned.
I thought, oh boy, isn't it
Am I
Stabat Mater
using the words?
Gloriosa?
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was speciosa.
Well, I may have said speciosa. I know in the past I've said that accidentally a couple times. I believe it's gloriosa. Actually, let me check before I totally mess see, I'm messed up, so let me check so I don't mess you guys up. Yeah, go ahead.
You keep saying speciosa. Wouldn't it be speciosa?
Whoops. You're right. That's English creeping into it. The soft C. Speciosa. Quite right. Thank you. Let's see. Let me look up something here. I need to find. Let's see. Where would it be? Oh, here it is. I think it's in here. Let me make sure I don't. Oh, I'm sorry. It is Stabat Mater Speciosa. Oh, well. I think at one time I used Gloriosa and then I got confused. It is Stabat Mater Speciosa. Yeah. Yep.
Michael?
Yes.
Have you heard that riddle about what do you call an Italian astronaut?
No, I haven't heard that one.
I think it's called a specimen.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. Wouldn't that be a Cuban astronaut, by the way?
But your speciosa keeps coming back to me.
Okay. Speciosa, and yeah, it is speciosa with a soft C, or the ch sound, not the S sound. And it is Stabat Mater Speciosa is the hymn. I double checked my website. So yes, and the dolor and the in fact I put that in our class, or I mentioned that in the class before Christmas. So if you go back there are links to the to somebody singing the Stabat Mater Speciosa. So I did it again, didn't I? Speciosa. I'm gonna have to repeat that 10 times. Get it straight in my mind. All right. Anyway, so rejoice, glorious virgin, lovely above all. The next part is kind of hard. It's vale o valde decora et pronobis Christum exora. And there's really only there's only a few words there. Vale is another word of hail. As I said, ave, salve, and vale can all be stood. They were all greetings, and you can understand them as hail, hello, what's happening, dude, and etc.
I thought Vale was goodbye.
No, it can be either. All right, let's yeah,
Oh,
we
it's
got
kind of like with Hawaiian where they have aloha, where it can either be hello or goodbye.
yeah. Well, here let's look at something.
That's a little like the quote,
Ave.
Hail Caesar, we who are about to die.
Yeah, well,
Salute you,
here,
but it also means goodbye.
yeah,
Well,
well,
the popular one is Ave Aquae Vale.
yeah, and that's that one you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Let me do something here. I am going to share my dictionary here. All right. So salve, or from salveo, means to be well or in good health. So when you say salve, it literally means be well. Okay. Or in the plural, if you notice in when I address, when I send out the emails, since I'm addressing all of you, I say salvete. So it really means to be well, okay? But that is the word they used for greeting, okay? Salve Regina, hail Holy Queen. Well, let's look up Ave. Let's see here, and I need Aveo. Yeah, there it is. Whoops, this is the wrong Ave. Let me get, there it is. Whoops, nope, I gotta get the other one. Yeah, there we go. Aveo, from which we have Ave, means to be or fare well, okay? So again, it's the same thing. So hail, God bless thee, fare, it can be also a goodbye, but it can, either one. So Ave means the same thing, hail. It also means be wealthy, or be wealthy, be healthy, be well, fare thee well. And then lastly, vale, from valeo, whoops, let me put the O in there, is to be strong, to be vigorous, to have strength. Again, to be healthy, if you look down here, be healthy, hale, or hearty. So Ave, Vale, and Salve are pretty much overlapping words, okay? Vale is a little more maybe hale and hearty a little more than Salve, but I don't know. They all mean pretty much the same thing. So don't get too hung up as to one is going to be hello, the other's going to be goodbye. You're right. In when I write you, I generally say salve for hello and vale for goodbye, because vale is a very good equivalent of fare thee well. Okay. The Old English term is, fare thee well, meaning, and goodbye is like a contraction of that, meaning bye and be good, as in.
It's like a good journey, sort
Yeah,
of.
good journey. Yeah. So we've compressed it down so much that we know what it means. Well, we don't even know what it means anymore, really. So yeah, don't get hung up on the three. So vale is another word for hail. Okay.
So Michael, if you put all those words together, how do you translate that line other than the way it's written?
Well, let me switch here for a second.
I was going to say that this is a little like.
Well, let me finish the whole line. Oh, go ahead, Jen. Let me finish the line.
I got some help from some workmen, and I said gratias, and they said donata, which means it's nothing. That really means you're welcome, but that's not literally what the words mean.
Yeah, well, it's their equivalent of welcome, even if, donata is not a one-to-one mapping. So anyway, vale is another word. Okay, ovalde is a intensifier, strongly, very, greatly. we don't really have a terribly good word for it. For now, pretend it's, yes, it amplifies what follows. Decora, maybe you can guess that, as in decorated, as in beautiful, fair, proper. We have a word decorous, which is sort of related. And then et pro and for
Decorative.
nobis. I don't want to use the word decorative with the Blessed Virgin Mary. It just doesn't, not in the 21st century anyway. Nobis us Christum exora. So the way I would translate this is hail, decora, almost decorous one, or almost fair one, beautiful one, et pro nobis, and for us, Christum exora, or entreat Christ, or beg Christ for us. So this is a fairly literal rendering of that particular line, or that particular line. Now, what I did, and I wanted to show this also, this is our relatively literal translation, okay? This is the translation over here. Now, this is by Father Edward Caswall, who was a very accomplished translator of hymns. We have a number of his hymns that we use today. So you can see, now what Father Caswall was trying to do is he was trying to preserve the meter and the rhyme. So celorum angelorum, enthroned, owned, porta orta, morn born, okay? Gloriosa, spaciosa, the and see, decora, exora, fair and spare. So he was keeping, we weren't constrained by that. We were just trying to produce something literal. And so that is one thing you do have to be a bit aware of with hymns. Oh, we are almost out of time too. Technically we're over. Is that generally if you see an English translation of a hymn, it's gets the point across. And in some ways, I think it does it better than a straight literal, maybe. So, hail Queen of Heaven, hail, O Queen of Heaven enthroned. He had to stick something in there that rhymed with owned. Hail, Mistress of the Angels, by angels mistress owned. Salve Radix, Salve Porta, root of Jesse, gate of morn. The idea being is luxus orta, the light is risen. So he's, when does that happen? That happens in the morning. So Gaude Virgo Gloriosa, glorious Virgin, joy to thee. Super omnes spaciosa, loveliest in heaven they see, whereas we just said lovely above all. Valde, o valde decora, fairest thou where all are fair. Yeah, that's a stretch. But again, he's kind of, it's, he's working with a particular poetic form that needs, and music that needs a meter and rhyme. So it's not, I think he captured very nicely the essence of it. Anyway, so there it is. I don't see Catherine online because we would say, we're going to sing this next Sunday, right? I presume so. We sang it last Sunday and the Sunday before. So, now you can kind of appreciate what it is. And we are just about out of time. So any questions? Okay, good.
I like Mistress of the Angels better. It sounds cooler.
It does. It does. A little more literal. Anyway, homework. Do read and study units 1 through 4. Get those declension endings down. I know I sound like a broken record, but hey, Latin is all endings. Get the verb. Oops, let's put this in parentheses here. The verb to be. Their forms, as I said, they're irregular, but they're going to give you the pattern for the other verb forms, which are Unit 5. They're fast approaching. Oh, actually, sorry, that's a holdover from a few classes ago. Well, do Latin anyway. But we are going to go through the Unit 4 exercises, okay? I sent out 2 crossword puzzles. Do those. They will help refresh your memory. And anyway, we are at the end of our hour. If there's any last minute questions, let me know, because otherwise we'll say our concluding prayer together and then dismiss the class. I'll stay a little bit afterwards if there are any questions there. So any questions about the material so far? Or the Ave Regina Caelorum? All right. So let us mute everybody. I did not mute everybody else. There we go. All right. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum. Benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. And so with that, that is the end of the class. I'm going to stop